Hi everyone, this is Nikachu, Merfolk Master, and I am here to play Mono Blue Tempo in MTG Arena. And if you want to see the new cards that have been created from Ravnica Allegiance and what can be applied to this deck, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Alright, so there have been a bunch of new interesting candidates, and I think two that I would like to experiment with today on my road to Mythic. I'm still in Diamond. Are Quench. Now, Quench is a very interesting card because in some ways we do want to close out the games early, and I have to say that now that I'm in Diamond, we're playing chess now. It's really tough. People have incredibly refined decks. They're very strong. They're playing 4-ofs of all the good cards. They don't have any janky substitutes, and all my opponents are actually quite good. So we need to outplay them. And one thing that helps a lot to beat the really strong top-end cards are things like Quench. Counters everything. The problem with Spell Pierce is that it doesn't counter everything. It doesn't counter creatures when we need it to counter a creature. Also pretty poor early in the game. Very early in the game, Spell Pierce not so effective because our opponent is generally playing creatures, creature after creature after creature, and the spells come later, or they can just play around Spell Pierce by casting their instants and or cheap instants or sorceries before they play their creatures. I find Spell Pierce to be a much more effective card way later in the game, countering Planeswalkers and Sagas. So Quench is going to be a card that can help deal with a lot of problematic creatures, just more answers to things like Goblin Chain Whirler, for example, or the Phoenix out of the red deck. And we need more somewhat hard counters against the Taking Turns deck. We need more counter spells in general. If we don't have, not the Taking Turns, the Fog, Turbo Fog. So the Turbo Fog deck, you'll never beat it if you don't have interaction, but if you do have some interaction, then you have a very good chance of beating it. You get in damage on the critical last turn that you need to. So not love, but I would like to play a little bit more with Quench. I've already played a little bit with it, and I have very high hopes with it. Another card I would like to see is Faerie Duelist. Now, I haven't played with this card, but I am very interested in playing with it. I think the fact that it's a 2-mana creature, flash, flying, 1/2 in power and toughness, and when Faerie Duelist enters the battlefield, target creature an opponent controls gets -2/-0 until end of turn. And I'm very interested to play with this card because being able to hold up more mana more often is going to make Quench a lot better. So long as I don't have to tap out so much, I always get the decision, do I want to play Quench or not? Faerie Duelist, again, it's a flying creature, so it's evasive, something that we can put Curious Obsession on, but I'm also looking forward to situations where we can blow out our opponent. There are a lot of combat tricks that people want to use Dive Down on. Like, I don't really like Dive Down as a card that protect our own creatures, but there is a little bit to Dive Down in terms of combat tricks, either attacking into opponent's creatures or trying to defend your own creature when you're trying to block. And Faerie Duelist is going to fulfill a very similar role because you make your opponent's creatures smaller, you make them weaker, you're able to block them. So when a Phoenix is attacking in the air, we can block it with our Tempest Djinn, and then Faerie Duelist the Phoenix, and our Tempest our genie will survive. And there's a lot of dinky little creatures that we can now make smaller and block because of Faerie Duelist. So I'm hoping it's going to do something. I don't know if it will. I was playing with, what was the other fairy card? I was playing quite a bit with Nightveil Sprite. Not the most exciting looking, but with a Curious Obsession on it, you can scry to the important cards that you need in the deck. And I was playing with Nightveil Sprite because against the control decks or the Turbo Fog decks, you need to dig to your counterspells, because if you don't find the counterspells, you're dead. You're just dead. And this, again, is a 1/2 creature in the air that can that has evasion. So I was playing with Nightveil. Once I hit Diamond, I had to dump things like the Marauder, Kitesail Marauder, because I like Kitesail Marauder a lot, but you can't have too many 1 toughness creatures once you reach Diamond. There's just too much mono red. Chain Whirler is a 4-of in everyone's list, and you get blown out too hard. So I would also say that my evaluation of decks have changed significantly once I've reached Diamond. some decks got easier, some decks got harder. So for example, the mono white deck is definitely a lot harder. It's being piloted by better players. The decks are more refined. They have just enough game to squeeze by. I would say it's gotten a lot harder as I've moved up the ranks. Mono red got harder, definitely got harder because of Chain Whirler, but I don't feel like it's the balance is too off. A deck that got a lot easier was the Golgari deck. I don't know how to put it, but they don't have any like, I feel like when I was in the earlier stages of the game, people had a lot of filler cards, which were just big dinosaurs, like Galta, for example. Just things to fill in the cracks until they got the wild cards to replace them. Right now, I don't feel like there's any big over-the-top creatures coming out of that deck. So with that, they don't have a way to race me in a lot of ways. So I found the Golgari deck to actually get easier as I started moving up the ranks. Still very optimistic about this list. There have been several players that have posted that they've reached Mythic with Mono Blue Tempo. Great, congratulations. It definitely has all the power, and I'm still not moving to I'm gonna still reserve Dive Down yet. I'm not gonna move to Dive Down until I feel like I really need it. I don't like this card. I still don't like this card. I don't think there's enough spot removal. You can still get blown out in combat if you try to use it as like a combat trick, because when you try to play Dive Down in response, they'll just use a removal spell. And it's like a dead card against hand removal. Like if they look at your hand to discard something, and they know you have Dive Down, then they're just going to play around it. So you get really weak to discard effects. Yeah, and it does nothing against the Turbo Fog deck. Just does absolutely nothing. I hate it when it does nothing. I hate it when players are playing sweepers, destroy all converted mana cost creatures 3 or less. Dive Down does nothing. Dive Down does nothing. So this is the deck. So the big change. So I've reduced the number of spell pierces. We overall have 10 counterspells in the deck. It's a lot, and I only have 24 creatures, but I'm sort of fine with that. Another thing to talk about. Ooh, I took out Exclusion Mage. I had 2 in here for a little while, but I guess I took them all out. That might be a mistake. Maybe I should take out something to put some Exclusion Mages back. I don't mind having a little bit of bounce in this deck, but I guess I'm just trying to depend a little bit on Faerie Duelist in its spot, and Quench. But I definitely needed to trim the curve. I went down to 4 Tempest Djinn, 2 Exclusion Mage, because the decks are so refined and fast, they're putting so much pressure on you, that you can't afford to have these clunky hands full of 3-drops. So I cut down 2 Exclusion Mages, and it looks like I also cut the rest of them to make room for Faerie Duelist and Quench. Anyway, this is totally experimental. I haven't played with this list yet, so let's just see how it is. Maybe I'm gonna have to readjust. Let's go find out. All right, I have rewards here that I can absolutely never. I mean, I can get the cast 20 creature spells one. That's about it. I'm in like Diamond tier 3. Yeah, we're probably up against Mono Red. Because what else would this mean? So we go first. We got Faerie Duelist into Tempest Djinn, so Robin Williams, we're on our way. I love that we don't have to tap out against Mono Red with the Faerie Duelist. Get 2 Lava Runner. Unfortunately, we can't trade with it. That's not going to happen. But we can prevent the damage. Another thing against Mono Red now, I feel like I want to slow down when I know they're going to have their 3rd land drop. Okay, that's no big deal. Get 2 Lava Runners still won't deal any damage. Like, once they hit their 3rd land drop, that's when I have to hold up the counter spells, because I gotta counter Chain Whirler, gotta counter those big things, and I want to, like, exhaust those very expensive spells. think I'm just gonna pass. Gonna keep up Merfolk. I think I'm just gonna tap something down with Merfolk Trickster. I'm not gonna. I don't think I'm gonna block anything. I might. If I let them attack, I potentially get hit for at least 2 damage. Maybe 4, actually. No, 3, because I'll target one of them. So I'm not going to let that happen. I'm just going to tap one down. And then if they kill Merfolk Trickster, then I'm going to take 2 damage. And hopefully that removal spell is not going to be a removal spell that's going to be spent on the Tempest Djinn. They may not want to use a removal spell here, because I might protect myself with Spell Pierce. That'd be terrible, actually, for them. What do we have here? I don't even know what this is. So Defender deals 1 damage to each player, but not any targets. Good. I think I'm going to play the Tempest Djinn and the Mist-Cloaked Herald. I can use the Herald to at least try to block the Viashino Pyromancer. I'll stay on blocking duty. But if they use all their resources to kill the Tempest Djinn, then this thing is probably what I'm going to put a Curious Obsession on. There's actually some reason to hold back Mist-Cloaked Herald. I forgot about, I just forgot about Goblin Chain Whirler. So other things against Mono Red you're going to want to know, it is a strategy, hold your 1-drops in your hand until your opponent has more or less exhausted all the cards in their hand. What else? If I have a choice between Mist-Cloaked Herald and Siren Stormtamer on turn 1, I do like to play Mist-Cloaked Herald, and I just want to put one of them out there because I don't mind them using Shock on it, because it's just a shock that's not going to hit my face or any of my other creatures in the future. What's going on here? Okay, you deal 3 damage to this, so you have to shoot it one more time. Okay, that's not bad. That's not a bad result. And we can... I sort of don't want to block everything. I want to take 4, maybe play Tempest Djinn, play the Curious Obsession on the Mist-Cloaked Herald. Seems like a decent idea to me. Try to pull ahead, and then we use the Tempest Djinn to at least maybe try to block. Okay. So if they have no removal for Mist-Cloaked Herald, this thing will probably run away with the game. That sucked. Really wanted to draw at least one more threat, because now if they kill it, all I have is a Tempest Djinn on the board. I think I can pretty safely block any of these things with the Tempest Djinn, because then if they use a removal spell to kill the Tempest Djinn, Mist-Cloaked Herald is alive. Still protected against Goblin Chain Whirler. Alright, Lightning Strike on that. Well, we're attacking for a lot. They're attacking for... Well, that might seal the deal. They attack for 6. They attack for 5 back. I think we're winning that race. And we can just Wizard's Retort the most important things. Helps. Actually, it doesn't. It's irrelevant. The blocker would be better. Okay. We go to 7, but they can only deal 5 here. That will be 6, 7, so that's not good. We have to Wizard's Retort that. Okay, we won. Excellent. Diamond tier 3. We're on our way. We're on our way. We've got some gold. So I think like mono red is perfectly beatable. Hopefully even more beatable with Faerie Duelist. I think Faerie Duelist helped us a little bit in that matchup. Mlech. Even when they had 2 Skewer the Critics. Well, this hand looks great. Play almost completely at instant speed. You whiffed! Swing and a miss. Why? Because I do not play Dive Down. Unfortunately, none of this is going to be a surprise. It's the downside to all this. Choose a non-land card. Well, okay, you got me. So what is this? Blue-black control? Grixis control? Faerie Duelist probably going to be pretty poor. This doesn't really have any purpose to be out now. Faerie Duelist is probably... Duelist is going to be terrible here. I'm going to play this now just to play around counter magic, and then I'm just going to try to attack as much as I can on my turn. Surveil 2, draw a card. Went to the graveyard, nothing. Okay, Surge Mare could be good. I'm just really concerned about the sweeper that destroy all creatures with confirmed mana cost 3 or less. It's just really strong. I'll play the Surge Mare. Or maybe that's something I should play afterwards. It's a good late game card. Keeping the island in my hand for Surge Mare, as Surge Mare food. Okay, that's fine. Thought Eraser. Tons of Thought Erasers. Taking all my stuff. But at least we can now start grinding with Surge Mare. It's pretty clear they don't have the sweeper, so I think I'm gonna empty my hand a little bit. I gotta be prepared for the big black flying card. Chemister's Insight, sure. Do I want to hold this up now? Probably. The black sweeper is how much mana? 6 mana? Sorry, 4 mana. So in theory, this thing can counter something. Don't know what to keep, Faerie Duelist or the Island. I sort of want land, so if my board gets wiped anyway, I can just respond by playing Faerie Duelist. Gotta keep the Surge Mare. I'm gonna use that as a backup Surge Mare. I don't know. I'm gonna keep the land. It also gives me the ability to pump Surge Mare up for 4 next turn. You may return target non-land permanent and opponent controls to its owner's hand. Okie dokie. Can't counter that. I thought this had flash. They just want to do it on my turn? Oh, they're taking the Mist-Cloaked Herald. Resolves. I don't really see anything I can do except to attack with the Surge Mare. Hope they block. Or I don't know about hope they block, but I mean if they block, I'm going to kill it. It's going to eat up my turn. It's better than having a Dream... I guess it's better than having a Dream Eater on the battlefield? Now what? Spell Pierce is getting worse. Does not have a whole lot of things to counter. I'm gonna end my turn anyway. If they try to play 2 spells a turn, then I can at least Spell Pierce one of them. Nothing. They might try to counter this. This resolves. I can't do anything about this. I don't think they know about Spell Pierce. I don't think they know. And we're just going to play into that board wipe, because I would like to try to close this game out as quickly as possible. Destroy target non-land. Okay, so that we can Spell Pierce. Great. Glad I kept that Spell Pierce. Now we got Surge Mare, active Surge Mare, active Water Horsey, my Water Pony. Search target opponent's graveyard, hand, or library for up to 4 cards with that name, exile them. What are you going to go for? They get to see what's in our hand, which is a problem. We got land. Land for days. Well, it's going to get looted away by Surge Mare. Oh no, the Curious Obsessions. Oh my god, what now? Well, fortunately, they're mostly tapped out, so I can Surge Mare for the max next turn. Wizard's Retort, alright. So they got to see my deck first. Oh, didn't get this one. Guess we'll just attack for 4. And then play the Tempest Djinn. They will probably have a very hard time. You know what? I should have just hit them for 6 and keep the Tempest Djinn in my hand. I regret that decision. Whatever. So, let's say they kill everything. I still have a Surge Mare as backup. But it's not ideal. It's not ideal. They draw a card, and each opponent discards a card. Do not wipe my board. Okay, that's fine. Does not wipe my board. I think we got a little lucky there. We were very vulnerable to a sweeper, like very, very often. Wow, Faerie Duelist sucks in that matchup. That was terrible. It is literally a 1/2 creature. No good value in there. We're up against Wubby87. Wubby. We go first. Sounds fine. On turn 3, we might just hold up Wizard's Retort depending on what we're up against. I really like trying to prevent my opponent... I mean, it depends on the matchup, but I really want to prevent my opponent from going crazy very early on in the game. Okay, so because we're on the play, we probably will play the Tempest Djinn. The Surge Mare is going to be gas. Okay. Exile the next 2 cards, you can cast them. Get to Lava Runner, and Goblin Chain Whirler is never getting cast. Alright, we got a Quench. Sweet. Fortunately, the Surge Mare and this Get to Lava Runner are staring at each other. What to do about this Curious Obsession? If we can get this Curious Obsession on this Tempest Djinn, it's over. You know what, I'm gonna take a chance. They're choked on mana? Oh, I don't know that, actually. I was under some assumption that they were choked on mana. I could be wrong. Isn't this exile you make until your next turn you may cast those cards? Okay, so this game's over. That does nothing. I'll just block it. What are you doing? I'm in Diamond, right? I'm in Diamond! What happened here? That's right. We had the game in the bag. We were going to play Curious Obsession and hold up Counter Magic for the rest of the game. They had no chance of beating that. There's definitely a little bit of chess to be played. So what did I want to say? I want to say, if you have Mist-Cloaked Herald or Siren Stormtamer against Mono Red, play Mist-Cloaked Herald, because you want to save Siren Stormtamer for the late game, because it can protect you against burn spells to your face. Our opponent goes first, but this hand is very similar to the other one. We'll keep it. Hopefully our opponent doesn't run away with the game or anything. I've got like 11 days to get to Mythic, or they're going to reset everything. What the hell is this? Dinosaurs? It's been a while since I've seen dinosaurs. Is there a chance you can play an instant or sorcery this turn? Nope. Apparently not. Ugh. Remember the good old days. It was like dinosaurs and there was a fight card that kills my creatures. Most unpleasant. Most unpleasant. Held Collector. What the hell is this? Hexproof Riot Trample, as long as you... something. As long as it's your turn, Gruul Spellbreaker... You and Gruul Spellbreaker have Hexproof. Okay. Well, here comes Mist-Cloaked Herald, which is incredibly late to the party. I don't know, can I afford to take a hit? Sure. Oh no! What the hell happened? I wanted to put the Curious Obsession on it. Well, that's bad. Now I might have lost the match. Ugh, there's gotta be some sort of confirm button for this Surge Mare, because this is happening like way too often. Why did it even activate? I like dragged from here and then let go on the Surge Mare. That shouldn't activate it. Okay, we're all in. We're all in. We're just gonna take a bunch of damage this turn. I wanted to hold up Mist-Cloaked Herald and Spell Pierce. Because I bet there's some sort of fight card here. Wizard's Retort is pretty bad. Because I don't have a wizard. Get rid of the island anyway. This thing, Hexproof, can't cast non-creature spells. Well, I don't think my opponent cares. If a spell or ability an opponent controls causes you to discard this, you put it on the battlefield. 2 mana, loses all abilities until end of turn. Any player may activate this ability. I don't care. I do care about my life total, though. Well, I can't block this thing profitably, I can block this thing. Alright, well, we're gonna put the Tempest Djinn on the battlefield. That's the best thing we can do right now. 9, 10? Sure. I'm just gonna try to trade with this thing. Digging for I have no idea. That's not bad. That could help. In theory. Okay, I'm just gonna put a blocker here. We can chump block this thing. And by can, I mean like in theory we can do that. Riot, trample. Fine. We're still alive. What the hell is this thing now? Well, we're gonna have enough mana to play a Merfolk Trickster and a Herald and hold up Wizard's Retort next turn, so that's not too bad. Fortunately, everything is a green creature, so we can continue attacking with Surge Mare. In some way, we are, like, stabilizing. If I just keep chump blocking this every turn, that won't be too bad. As long as we keep... Well, I think we've hit enough land drops. Okay, that's good, because that's just more cheap stuff that we can use to chump block the Ferox thing. Okay, more Tempest Djinns are also good. Discard the Spell Pierce. What does this do? You may search your library for a card named Growth Chamber Guardian. That's terrible. Okay, whatever, that's just something that we can counter when it comes back. Oh, do you know what? In response to the Adapt, I guess I could have just Merfolk Trickstered it. Because it doesn't have any abilities after it adapts. Missed it! Sorry, it's the first time I'm playing against Adapt. Sure. They got free value for no reason. Only adapt once. Pelt Collector can get further bigger. Ooh, Llanowar Elves getting excited. Getting a little excited there, Llanowar Elves. It's too bad I didn't Merfolk Trickster that thing in the first place. Then this wouldn't be such a big deal. I was taking 4 damage anyway. I could have saved the Wizard's Retort for the, like, one good card in their hand, because I'm sure they have something else. I've got no flying creatures, that's good. This thing's pretty big anyway. Alright. The hand is exhausted. How to turn the corner. 1 damage at a time. Surge Mare probably not good. Or maybe it's okay. It can stone block some cards for a while. Well, I could play a Tempest Djinn that will finally block and kill the Nullhide Ferox. But at the same time, I want a winning plan. This thing can block. Not good. How much damage can I take? How much things have trample? Nope. Yes. Nope. Nope. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. I can't beat this card. This card is good. Okay, so now what are we doing? Probably blocking this, that's for sure. I don't know if that was a wise attack. Okay, so I get to eat this. I have to chump block this. This thing has trample. So I'm gonna let the Pelt Collector come through. Just chump block this. What am I taking? 4, 10. Oh, that's too much. I'm gonna block that way. Okay, Merfolk Trickster. I need a good one. Sorry, Surge Mare. I need something good. Something I need a Merfolk Trickster, really. How to win this game? I can attack for... I can actually attack for 12 this turn. I will attack, I think, with both of these. Because getting my opponent to a relatively low life total will be my only route to victory. I think I need to draw a Merfolk Trickster at the very least. That's very important. If I draw Merfolk Trickster, I have a chance. If I don't draw Merfolk Trickster, I definitely have no chance. I can't beat this Ghalta. Nope. Nope. That's very bad right now. I don't know if bluffing Dive Down even does anything. What do I have? 3 untapped creatures? I'm dead. The Gruul deck beat me. Well, we're gonna end it on a sad note, but still, we're moving up. We're getting closer to Mythic. I hope you like the look of this deck. And you know what? If you want to support this channel, don't forget to support me on Patreon. And thanks to all my patrons who do support me on Patreon. This has been Nikachu playing Mono Blue Tempo in MTG Arena.